Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a special edition of I know the title said B Team, but this is more of a special edition with 3 weeks of prep time for the national title game episode. We're joined with Dallas from the A Team and Chad from the A Team, basically the A Team. So this is gonna be some.
I'm B Team Mafia,
quality.
you know that.
I don't know. You're like half and half. So I don't know.
Call me a hybrid. I don't care.
You're a hybrid.
You're a mutt.
You're the mutt.
I'm like a hybrid quarterback. I can both throw and run.
I like this.
God, there we go. Look at you.
Man,
terminology.
This I don't know. This podcast is more so we have something new to talk about or something to do. Because we today in our group text thread, sorry to air out dirty laundry, but we spent half of the day arguing about copyright law because we were out of things to talk about. And this game cannot come soon enough. My God.
I saw that and I was like,
I set my phone down so many times.
I started it and then I walked away.
I started that on accident. I just threw that out there I was kind of just making a comment, like, right?
Yeah,
that's and then it just went, I come back and I'm like, 20 messages.
When you've got the level of intensity we all have right now, but like no outlet for it, that's what you get.
Right. Yeah. I texted you, Dallas, the other day. That we were talking about this podcast. I'm like, man, we got to do something because I'm putting socks on in the morning, judging if they're lucky or not. Like
Accurate.
It's game day, and we've got. There's only so many socks in the drawer, and I'm not doing daily laundry, so I gotta give that up. But I can't. I don't know what to do with myself right now. It's ridiculous. So I'm really glad that we're doing this. We would be remiss if we did not mention our title sponsors of Cottonwood Coffee and Bistro in Brookings, South Dakota. Best place for breakfast in town, best coffee in town.
Go get it.
If you can't get to Brookings, go to your Walmarts in Minnesota or go online, order yourself up some of that smooth coffee. Use the code JI22. JI22. Wow, why is that a question to me? Did someone put a question mark on
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Right. I'm Ron Burgundy. And
are you out of practice here already?
I don't know, man.
That happened really quick.
I was calling Cam Miller Easton Stick all night last night.
I thought that was a bit.
I thought you did that on purpose.
So did I. I thought that was a bit.
The first time I thought it was on purpose. The second time I knew it was not, and I was like,
"It was."
I gotta say
definitely
something.
Not. And I'm an idiot, and I couldn't stop. That was the worst part. I was like stuck in this repeat of doing it. And our other title sponsor, Drake's Place in Bowdle, South Dakota, not much more than a convenience store. They've got the best pizzas in the state. I promise you, it's worth the drive to get some. They've got calzones. The 605 sandwich will knock your socks clean off. Get yourself a pizza and maybe sweet talk them, and they might make it so you can take it and bake it at home. They've got off sale liquor. They don't have on sale liquor, but they do have like a bar area with TVs that Drake's generally have some Jacks games playing on there when they get a chance to rerun them. So that's cool. As well as all your normal convenience store accessories. So if you are heading up into that area for hunting, fishing, not skiing, we don't ski around here, but anything like that, go ahead, stop by Drake's Place. And of course, as usual, we also have, oh dear, I've got a work call. You got this. But I was waiting for this day.
It happened. All right, what do we do? I don't know what to do.
Let's remove him a little bit.
Okay, there we go. We'll let him do his thing. He's got to be grown up, make some money.
Why don't you talk a little bit about our plans? So our group thread's been very long the past few days. Work has been hard to focus at because, like Brendan said, I don't know what socks to put on because what's lucky and what's not. But we have been talking through something that we got going on. And why don't you talk a little bit about your role in that and how excited you are?
Sure. So, I mean, Ben Matt to start with, and then Ben have had the biggest role. So Jackrabbit Illustrated, we are, I call it hosting or sponsoring or initiating a tailgate at Frisco. Very, very excited about this. I mean, really, the idea was to reach out to our absolutely kick-ass sponsors, which, I mean, we're all blown away by what they've done for us, just for the ability to throw a party before the game in Frisco. So we're doing that. We're prepping for a giant tailgate we're going to set up next to the JFPA. So that's exciting. We're trying to get kind of just a centralized location. And also the Jackrabbit football player parents are going to be joining us too. So anybody, all of our, I don't know, I hate the word fans, listeners, contributors, whatever, anybody that, if you can hear us right now, you are invited to join us. We're going to have food. We're going to have beer with a bartender, because obviously we have sponsors. So we got folks that got to check IDs and things to give out beer, but this is going to be one hell of a party. Basic information, what we got so far is just a minute. All right. So the tailgate lots, are you going to put it up?
No, that's fine. I just didn't know if you were going to mention sponsors. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
100%. Yeah, well, actually, you can run through sponsors. But we got just hold on, let me finish. Just for basic
right now.
just for basic information here. Again, we're gonna have food. That is first come, first serve. So is the beer. So just to be clear, everybody, this is not a sponsored alumni event. This is a tailgate. Okay, so if somebody shows up in blue, they're gonna get food. All right. Tailgate lots open at 8. There's 3 different times listed online. Ben tracked down, I believe, Steve in charge of facilities at the stadium in Frisco at Toyota Stadium, and he said 8 o'clock. That is 5 hours prior to kickoff. That is when the lots open. Not 6, not 7. They open at 8, okay? So those open at 8. We're going to be set up along, what side of the stadium is that? Is that
the east side?
East side of the, thank you. East side of the stadium, where that's the side where the Jacks allotment of tickets are. That's our sideline, opposite of the spring. If you're there in the spring, apparently they rotate, like they flip home sides every year for some stupid reason, which makes no sense.
It does make no sense. I agree with that 100%.
It doesn't, but I talked to a parent this morning who has Bison family members, unfortunately, and she said that they told her that they've been home on both sides, apparently. So we're going to be on the east side there. We're going to try to set up along the boulevard or by some grass areas, so we got space. So it should be a huge turnout. But again, sorry to cut you off there, Brendan, but sponsorship has been unbelievable with people reaching out.
No, it really blew us away. I mean, thank you to everyone who has sponsored, who has donated. And I apologize if I got to jump out. I know I only have a certain amount of time to answer these dispatches, and I'm supposed to have a bunch of them coming in that I take care of tomorrow, but I have to answer them within minutes. But anyways, that's the job. No, this tailgate's going to be awesome. If you are bringing a tailgate rig or planning on setting up your own tailgate of any kind, which we do encourage, we want everybody to come to our tailgate, but we also want to see a Jackrabbit tailgates there, I think, is also a sentiment of ours. So if you are driving down, right, flags across the sky, the whole thing, we want to have a very, very large SDSU representation outside of our tailgate as well. Get there early. NDSU fans will start lining up, I promise you, at 6. So if you want to get a good spot, don't expect to roll up at 8 and just get a spot. Okay. Make sure you're there early. Sorry about that. Make sure you're there early to set up your stuff just to get a spot. Otherwise, that's all I've got to add. I cannot wait for this. This is going to be so much flipping fun. And that's just on game day. I know we're sort of working on maybe organizing a place for everybody to go on another night as well, just as an informal sort of, hey, we're all going to show up there. We'll see where that goes. So keep your ears open for that. We'll probably post stuff on Twitter and things and mention that during our various podcasts as well.
And there is the alumni event, which we're going to be attending. Mm-hmm. We suggest you get the tickets. I think it's a really good deal for the all you can drink. It's like, what, $30 more? And what's that? Three drinks most places. So that's a hell of a deal, I think, honestly. I just wanted to jump in a couple questions. Jim Poppin's been spouting off, saying that I'm excited like all of us, and that's true. I was just trying to get the sponsors because, like they've been saying, we're blown away by the support we've gotten. Jordan Fink asked if we're on the opposite side of the press boxes. That's correct as far as I understand. It's the
Yes.
opposite of where we were last time, and I think we stood under the press boxes during the rain.
Yep.
Nailed it.
And Jim also asked if it's kind of the same place I was in the spring, so that would be mostly correct, except for there's that entrance, and I think we plan on being on the south side of that entrance there, if that makes any sense. So if you guys hung out with us last time and huddled in our tent while the rain and wind blew, just go a little further south of that, and that's where we'll be.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those deals where they don't have a signed, you can't buy a reserve spot. It's just first come, first serve, and we're not going to be able to get away with what we pulled off in Iowa, where we snuck in the back door. That's just not going to work out. So,
we'll see.
yeah. Well, and, honestly, a large part of that is me and you. We are not the ones dragging the tailgate stuff in. It's going to be the guy we contracted.
We have a professional coming with a professional
Yes.
tailgate setup.
Yes. So
it's not amateur hour this time.
Right. So it's going to be a little different. We're not going to be able to just sneak in and make sure we get a spot, but he will be early and do his best to get where we want to be. So just keep your eyes open. You should be able to tell where we are if you get in that vicinity.
Yeah, it'll be the acronym Epicenter. So the JFPA.
And I know the FCS Fans Nations guys are going to set up their tailgate somewhere in that area.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
and Brendan, I love the point of if you're going to tailgate, don't not tailgate because we're doing this. Continue to tailgate. Just come set up by us, and we'll on Twitter, on Facebook, we'll post the lots that we're targeting. Again, we don't know where until we're actually set up, but we'd love to just have. We want to be the hub of what's going on. Back to all right. So, Chad, I totally cut you off on the sponsors. We love them. I don't know if you want to read some off, but obviously starting with Dakota Iron, I think was the first to step up.
Yeah, John stepped up immediately. It's like, where can I sign up? We are doing it with the hair raisers. Those guys are helping us a little bit too. We always tailgate with them, and they're a great time. So we got Dakota Iron, Holtzworth Farms, Cottonwood Coffee, of course, our standard sponsor. Mike Schaefer, we know that guy too. College football prospects.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
He's part of the parent tailgate as well, as far as I understand.
Indeed.
We got DeBoer Construction, Jacobs Construction.
Well, and I believe Mike Schaefer Mike Schaefer played for NDSU, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did.
So.
Yeah. Accurate.
So, I mean, double shout out for him for A, letting his son come here, and B, helping sponsor our tailgate. That's really cool.
It's kind of like Aaron Johnston. It was good seeing his dad a while back. So we got Finesse and Grind. Anybody know what tie that is to the?
That would be Tolu.
Yep.
Tolu, hell yeah.
Yep, I got a hoodie, and it's great. I love it. I wore it this morning, actually.
I can't wait to get it. I hope I get it before the national championship.
Nice.
Blue Tide Car Wash. We all know who they are. They are the ones that you can go around and buy subscriptions and get basically monthly limitless car washes around the area. And
if you live in the upper Midwest, your car is filthy right now. You're lying if you say it's not.
And go there instead of Silver Star. Silver Star will scratch your vehicle like this.
I wasn't even going to say their name. You should have said the other guys.
They can lick my left nut as far as I'm concerned.
Tell us how you really feel. Also, another.
Do you want me to tell you how I really feel? I'm being nice right now.
I've heard it. Another OG sponsor stepped up. Drake's Place, Robert Drake. We had Ernst Capital Group, Bloomin' Raider Farms, Mensch Greenhouses Incorporated, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota, Forrester Distributing in Brookings, Josiah's Coffee House and Cafe, downtown Sioux Falls. They got great coffee as well. Boyce Law Firm, LLP, and last but certainly not least, President Barry Dunn.
That's so cool.
It is very cool.
That made my day.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
So along with those guys, we won't drag this out any longer, but again, so many individuals that gave a significant amount of money.
49 individuals right
Good
now.
Gracious. Parents, tons of people that gave hundreds of dollars. Tons of the parents chipped in. Like, this is awesome. It's going to be a great party. All right. Is there anything else we got to cover there? I think we beat this to death.
No, but there will be things to drink and eat and have a good time.
There will. Good pull. All right. So moving on. Next, I wanted to chat about the one piece of news that came out. When did that come out?
Today.
Was it just today?
just today, I believe. It's been a long day, but I'm pretty sure it was today.
I don't even know what day it is anymore. I love break. This is awesome.
So if you guys don't know, he's talking about the announcement of the transfer portal. I'll let you continue on.
Oh, sure. So Tyler Feldkamp did announce today that he has entered the transfer portal. I absolutely wish him the best. No, it must have been yesterday, I think, that it came out. Because we had somebody mention that they wanted to talk on last night on the FCS Fans Nation podcast on if that was a distraction or not. So I think it was yesterday. Splitting hairs here. But so anyway, so he's announced and absolutely wish him the best.
6 hours ago.
Shenanigans. I'm going to go back and look at old tweets. All right.
Do you want me to show you the tweet?
We're going to argue about this later.
No,
we got stuff to get to. So
Ryan Drake's was yesterday. So
all right, there we go. We don't argue with Drakes. They rule all. So and again, just entered the portal. I think the Jacks are very lucky. I don't know if you want to call it luck, but we haven't been hit by a bunch of that. You look at especially FBS programs, mid-tier. Tons of the FCS too. The number of names, if you're on Twitter, that you see pop up hitting the portal is significant. And the fact that we don't have that, speaks loads to the culture and the coaching staff and what the school has built. So, I don't, addressing the question, I forget who asked it, if that's going to be a distraction. I don't think that is because, these guys are used to that at this point. Not that it happens a ton to us, but it's such a common thing that occurs in college football now. And these guys, this isn't somebody that's going out guns blazing that's upset at the program. This is just someone that's going on to, I don't want to say better himself. What's the way to put it, right? Just to maximize his potential, to make sure that he has a chance to be showcased because he's a brilliant athlete. He's going to be, he can be the spotlight where he goes. We're just such a deep team that it's tough when you get all these offensive weapons. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. And, his playing time has dwindled a little bit. And when we talk about the recap a little bit, we can get in that a little bit as that's kind of a trend, not just for Feldkamp, but his playing time's dwindled a little bit. So, that's a factor. A guy wants to go somewhere where he's going to see the field. You go to play ball, not to sit the bench. And it's hard when you're as talented as someone like Tyler Feldkamp to have to sit and wait your turn, so to speak. And, anyway.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, Brendan? Sorry, or Dallas?
Well, I would say I think I missed most of it, but I was going to say I think we've seen this before with guys. It happens every year. It's a little earlier than normal, but this for me is why I've always cautioned people against. For the longest time we didn't have transfers, and we were the only school I think at this point in the FCS who hadn't had a transfer out yet. It happens to everybody. It's going to. It's the reality of the new world we're in. So I just wish Tyler the best. We've seen this with other players. They go to another school, and we wish them all the best. Thanks for your time as a Jackrabbit. Absolutely for Tyler. I hope he goes out and kills it, preferably for someone, say, in the CAA would be, great. Or, that we don't have to play.
Yeah, we'd like to not have to play the guy, that's for sure. We want to be able to cheer for him. So best of luck to him, definitely.
Yep. No, I just thought it was worth calling out, being a South Dakota kid, and like I said, wish him the best.
He's a Roosevelt grad, I believe, too, right?
Is it?
So that Roosevelt pipeline.
So Ben, listen here. You're not even here, my guy. First off, second off, Ben says Brendan not paying attention. What's new, sir? I had a work call, so you can sit on it.
I'm doing my best to fill in for him here. I did big shoes to fill.
Jim Poppin brought up he made donation number 50, so thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
It's awesome. Appreciate it. So if you want to go, it's Twitter, both Twitter and Facebook, Jackrabbits Illustrated. There's a QR code. There's a Venmo link, Venmo ID that you can donate to. All of it either goes to the tailgate, which it's going to get used up by the tailgate. If there was anything left, it would go to the JFPA, which in turn goes to the program. But that's what it's going to be used for, is throwing a cool party.
So
we're doing everything.
All right, let's Oh, go ahead.
Lindenwood as a landing spot potentially for Tyler Feldkamp, and I think that'd be a great spot. Actually,
No,
He said I don't think they've had any transfers yet.
Oh, my bad.
That's awesome. And that, yeah,
I think they're going to be a quality program in the near future. Future.
I think so too.
Good. They're already good.
Yeah, well, they're not good yet. They're getting good for their conference, but
that's what I mean. Well, they're good for where they're at.
Getting there. I could see eventually that happening. I mean, it's happening the right way with them, where it's building over time. You can tell they're building a program, not just doing a quick transfer, get good.
It is. They're in a solid geographical location that doesn't have, that size of school. So I think that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Right, and then they've had that mega camp that brings in everyone from 500 miles. Right, prospects that so they get their eyes on everybody. No, it makes perfect sense.
I wonder how that might change now that they're at this level.
People might not want to. Coaches won't show up. Right. It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. And if the coaches quit showing up, the kids will quit showing up.
Yeah, agreed.
Quite possibly. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yep. All right, so from here we talked about maybe kind of running back through the season, if that makes sense, because the weird thing about this, we've got the game of the FCS game of the century, the one we've all been waiting for, we've dreamt about and talked about, and it's finally happening, and we've played this damn team so many times that we're out of stuff to talk about.
I mean, I can make stuff up.
I can do it too, but we still got how many days left, right?
Right. Yeah.
We got all this time.
Who's counting?
I'm trying not to. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to run back through the season and just kind of talk preseason, what we were thinking, kind of talk back through the games in general and what this season has looked like. Because this has been an interesting thing to unfold. It hasn't gone according to script, but the result has been what we wanted, right?
Right. I think the result's even better, honestly. Yeah. I looked at the schedule, and when you see that run of road games we had, I didn't see any way we were going through that undefeated in the FCS. And so I honestly would say this season's gone better than expected.
I think we all thought maybe we'd have 2 losses come the end of the season somehow.
I picked one.
Okay,
well, you're a stud, though.
What were your
That's why you're on the 18th.
Oh, sorry. No. I don't. I take that back. I picked one FCS loss, so I'm sorry. I picked 2. I've already forgotten the Iowa game. My goodness.
Well, it counts, but it doesn't. It doesn't count against you, but it does help you out. It's kind of a weird thing that way. What were your expectations coming into the season? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to just respond to Seth Meyers' comment because this isn't going to be coming up anytime. I'm not picking a tiebreaker in the bracket pool. I'm sacrificing first place for a national title. I will not break my superstition.
I love it.
I knew it.
Yeah, I don't know if they took me seriously or not, but I absolutely not doing that. But anyways, my expectations for the season was I think I'm on record as saying I saw us having 2 losses at the end of the year. Is what I expected, same as Dallas.
That's well done. So, I mean, going into the season here, looking back through the archives, so we get picked second in the Missouri Valley, was where we started, okay? Which, not shocking. Again, before the season's played, you got to give it to the national champion, so whatever. Yep. We got 6 guys named to the stats preseason list, which names that all make perfect sense. You got Bach, you got Greenfield, Kraft, Davis, Jackson, Yonke, and Mason.
Yep.
Right? So that all, those, everybody, no surprises there. That all worked out the way that we thought that it would. It's tough for any wide receiver or skill guy in this offense to get gaudy stats.
Right.
Which is amazing why those guys are staying, right? Because that's typically, especially if you want to play at the next level, you got to put up some numbers. And whether it's honestly any of those positions, including quarterback, you're not going to put up gaudy stats week after week because it is so balanced and we have so many great players.
Well, and I think that's some of what came in with Lujan, which was kind of one of the big question marks we had, right? What's the offense going to look like now that X gone? And, I think X offense was a little more prone to possibly getting those guys bigger stats because there were a little more shots down the field. Big play, explosive play sort of offense compared to what we've had with Lujan now. And you're absolutely right. It's been impressive, the recognition they're still getting with maybe the diminished stats because of how this offense is run, but it's also impressive that nobody seems to be unhappy. Everybody's happy with what's going on because everybody's in this to win the big one.
Eck always was kind of a flash guy, right? I mean, not that he's not smart, but he's a flashy player. And I see Lujan as the mental chess guy. He's always out there making the right call. Maybe it's not the one that's as fun, but it's the right call. And Brendan and I were talking about it before the game. And Dallas, you can chime in if you have any thoughts. But I was telling him, this offense had a lot of hype at the beginning of the season, and we have all these guys that are basically pro level, and we just don't have those big plays. And by big plays, I mean 20-yarders or more. We have a lot of 15-yard varieties, but we're not getting those big plays. Like in 2016 when we had that, that run and gun. Taryn was throwing the deep balls, and we were getting those big gashes. But you look at the scores, and everybody's like down on our offense, but our offense has been a machine, man. A meat grinder, if nothing else.
No, and they've done it a variety of ways, which is a hell of a point. And I want to quick go back before we jump on and talk about the Iowa game and the Cal game. Is that I will continue to bring this up. The most underrated part of the season has been that we turned over 2 coordinators and a good chunk of our coaching staff going into this year. Go back to spring ball, Stig called out that they had to run special situation reps for the coaching staff, not necessarily for the players, to get them the reps in spring ball and I think in fall camp too. I mean,
Sorry, that speaks to how smart Stig is too, though.
Yeah.
How many head coaches are thinking, all right, we need to run special situations so my coordinators are ready for it?
Yep.
I don't think that. I mean, that's not a thought I think that jumps into many people's minds when you have a new coordinator, and that's just really impressive.
That's just experience. This is going to matter. We've been here before. Let's be prepared. Leave nothing to chance, as they might say. Yeah.
Yep. 100%. So we kick off the season. We go down to Iowa, which was an absolute blast, loudest environment I personally have ever been in, and it's not even close. My God, like I don't even know how to. I've tried to explain to people. I'm like, that's the loudest environment I've ever been in. Oh, it's a loud game? No. Any environment that is the loudest place I've ever been in my life, any concert, whatever. That was so loud down on the field. I was down in the front row. So you start out with that insane game. 7-3, nobody can move the ball. Everybody leaves pissed off. Tucker Kraft gets hurt on his first reception, whatever it was.
Yes, first reception, yep.
So he's out. So we've got this offense. We've got a new offensive coordinator. We've got an offense, I assume, designed around who is presumed to be our best offensive player. He's out, and we got to go from there.
And the defense, they were excellent that game. I just want to point out a couple of plays. We had that pick. And the bad thing is the guy that got that pick. Do you remember who that was?
I should, and I forgot.
Because he's not playing. He hasn't played all year because Caleb Frankel had a great pick and return, got knocked out of the game and out for the season. So that's a bright spot that we have coming back next year that we haven't talked about a lot because he's been on the sidelines.
That's a hell of a point.
And then the best play of the game, and to me, was the strip that Adam Bach had going into the end zone, basically, of that Williams. LaShawn Williams was carrying the ball. Bach said, "No, that's mine." Popped it out and got the fumble, and that was huge.
That was one of the biggest football plays I've ever witnessed.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That was the most insane thing we've seen all year. And that we talked about what's memorable. That's what's memorable in that game to me. It sucks that we couldn't pull that one off because it really felt like
it was,
it was right there.
It was because you look at Mark is back for the first time in since the spring, and he missed. He was a little bit rusty, I guess. Missed a couple of shots, and it just didn't quite work out. But again, you're going against a team that had a chance to compete for the Big Ten West title. And, I think that the frustration over their offense on the Iowa side maybe overshadowed how well we did actually play. And in the end, we did give them a run. And, one more touchdown would have taken care of it.
A little more props to Frankel before I quit. I forgot.
Oh, please.
The guy also had a jumping pass breakup in the backfield. So, that kid's going to be a star.
Yeah.
The defense, man, I can't wait to see what it looks
That
like.
linebacker and secondary depth for us is shocking. That's probably the biggest, I don't know, surprise. That sounds disrespectful, but I mean, that was a very pleasant surprise to be able to have that. Because then, all right, so we go from Iowa, then we turn around and we get to go back home, and we got UC Davis.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you guys' memories of that game?
We didn't play particularly well. Go ahead, Brendan.
We didn't play great, but also that game was, and this is the most talked about game of the season, I think, for SDSU nationally. Compared to any other game we played, this was the one that was brought up time and time again by the Big Sky folks, which is fine. But that was always the one. Well, Montana State beat UC Davis by this much. Well, Sac State beat them by this much, and it was like, oh, yeah, that's how the real world works, comparative score analysis. But and I'm sorry to Ryan when that got brought up Ryan brought a comment up a while ago, Ryan Drake, and I was a dick, and I wasn't trying to be a dick to him. I was trying to be a dick to the Big Sky guys who were just nonstop with it. But that was what I remember the most about that game. That game was so in control, and we almost let it slip away. And I think in a lot of maybe past seasons, that game would have slipped away on us. And the team buckled down and made the plays that they needed to walk out of that one with a W.
Yep. That one was an odd one because, it should have been a 3-score game easily, potentially 4-score if I remember right. And yeah, you had the feeling we're going to march down and end it. And then you had just a younger player, a great athlete, make a mistake, and then it all kind of snowballed on us. So that was an odd one, but you remember the narrative coming out of that was, we were really, really questioning, or a lot of folks were going into the Butler game like, hey, we need to see a decisive win. We need to know, what this offense is all about. And then we come back, Butler in the Beef Bowl win that one 45-17.
Yeah. And sorry, you want to go ahead, Brendan? I'll let you.
It's you, my good man.
I watching the highlights from both the Butler game and the UC Davis game. One thing that kind of stood out to me, and maybe is a bigger theme, and Brendan and I talked about this before, is some of our guys weren't playing their highest level ball. Back then, we were questioning the secondary. How good are they going to be? They're our questionable point. And by the end of the season, we're like, sorry, guys, we ever questioned you. But you go back and watch that, they struggled a little bit against UC Davis and Drake. And Mark, love the guy and not want to say anything bad about him, but I don't think he was 100% to where he is now then. He was running a little slower. His grittiness was 100%, right? He was his game, being a gamer, that you can't take away, but he seems faster and more decisive with the ball in his hands on the ground and through the air now compared to then. And like I said, I think it's an overall theme. Our team has continued to progress and get better and better as the seasons wore on. Go ahead, Brennan.
Yeah, I think after the UC Davis and the Butler game, because the Butler game was a good win, but it's kind of what you expect to do to Butler. No disrespect to Butler, but it's kind of what we all expected. And like you said, Chad, like you could see the offense wasn't quite there because you talk about how we don't have the explosive plays. Well, we kind of do now, but we got this. Everybody, first impressions matter, right? That's your best chance to make a good impression is your first impression. And the Iowa game and then the UC Davis game, the offense struggled against Iowa, but you expect it. But then it wasn't really running against UC Davis, and then it did what it had to do against Butler, but it still didn't look like what you were expecting with all the talent we knew we had. And that's kind of had I don't want to call it a cloud, but it's given this thought that the SDSU offense isn't that good. And then you look at the game against Montana State where we've got, 2 or 3 touchdowns over 30 yards. And the game against Delaware and Holy Cross. And we had bunch of big plays in those games within the game plan. And I think these first 3 out-of-conference games are really what gave that sort of rep to this offense. Well, the defense has always been good. Like you said, they've gotten a lot better throughout the season as well. But I think the Butler game and the UC Davis game kind of was one to me where it gave the personification of what this offense is instead of what it actually was going to become. And you also had Lujan learning too.
You did the highly underrated point there, and he's had. I mean, I think Lujan's had a brilliant season. We haven't talked about. I've said this before, but we haven't talked about play calling at all this year.
Not really.
And I think that to me that means he's doing a hell of a job. Somebody, I don't know if you showed it, Chad, but somebody earlier had posted that thought Lujan was making great mid-game adjustments, whereas maybe Eck rode his game plan to the end. And yeah, that's very, very possible. Yeah, he's done a great job. So all right, so you've got the out of conference games. Offense, we put up 45 against Butler, but I think everybody, maybe with expectations coming into this year, thought we were going to be scoring 55 points a game. So then then it's into this meat grinder, the Missouri Valley schedule, that we all looked at this and went, oh man, we have the worst Missouri Valley schedule ever, right? We got Missouri State on the road. We got both North Dakota schools in a row on the road. We got Northern Iowa on the road. And that's where, we thought most folks outside of the program thought we'd drop one or two in the conference. So that Missouri State game, I was as nervous going into that as any conference opener.
Yeah.
Yep. It was like, we got to start with these guys. And then after what they did at Arkansas, you're walking into that game and seeing what Jason Shelley was doing. It was like, oh, this is tough. And we were worried about the offense. And something that I forgot about that Butler game is part of the reason we were so worried is we had to keep our starters into the late part of the third quarter to build that lead. It wasn't a normal 45-3 or whatever game that you'd have against a team like that. So then we're going into Missouri State with an offense that looks like it could put up 45 points on Bama.
Well, we did have 21 points on 3 turnovers in that Butler game. So,
that too. So
that was a big factor.
I'm with you, Dallas. I was sweating it. And I think that's when we really realized how good this defense is because of what they did to Jason Shelley and that offense. And honestly, I think that game, we legitimately broke Missouri State for the whole season.
Absolutely.
I was going to just say that same thing.
Because Jason Shelley came into that game looking like the good Dr. Lindsey Scott to us. I mean, we looked at him the same way. We did, really. I mean,
we did.
And he couldn't get away. And Jared DePriest had that decleating in the middle of that game. Oh, that was sick. And in that game, we really started to adjust our offense because we had lost, our pro talent tight end. But that's the game. Zach Hines showed out. We used him big time, and he was just great. We had a couple turnovers in that game that were clutch. That was Kobe Herter's 60-yard return, and he got caught by Jason Shelley. That's what I recall from that game. But yeah, it was one of, I think you can look and see we had multiple turning points in this year. That changed the makeup of how the team plays.
When you see Zach Hines again, you lose Kraft. Zach Hines goes 7 for 127 and a touchdown. That's when I went, okay, we're fine. We can plug and play. We've got probably the best tight end room in the country, any division. Then you've got both Jaden and Jackson with 8 and 6 receptions, 100 yards, 102. Isaiah does what he needs to do, and I don't know. You felt pretty good coming out of that. And if I remember right, the defensive line absolutely controlled the line of scrimmage, and I left that game feeling like the D-line won that game.
That was something that Brendan pointed out to the game, or before the game, if I recall correctly. He's like, well, I really like our chances because their offensive line has no chance against our defensive line.
And they didn't.
Their offensive line was so bad. And I was like, man, if we can get to them and contain them, and I think that was the biggest thing for me because Sluka is kind of the only blip on the radar against this defense, but that was the one because a guy like Shelley used to rip us a new one, scrambling out of the pocket, and the D line was so good at being disciplined in their rush lanes and
Exactly.
just swallowing him in a net. And man, it was amazing.
I've talked about this for all 3 years or whatever that I've done this, but this defensive line has been able to alter the way that they approach their attack every single game. There's the pin the ears back, speed pass rush games. They can handle against the run, the way that they do different stunts. And then when you've got a scrambling quarterback, which was typically the bane of our existence with those bleeping NDSU quarterbacks of old, they understand how to stop that. And again, that's where, as an athlete, you have to go, okay, probably not going to make this tackle, but I'm going to help make the play by just getting a yard and a half in the backfield and sitting down and not giving up any space. And they've done that, repeatedly. They've been able to change that up, which is so much to ask of a college athlete.
And that's precisely what they did. Precisely what they did to Montana State. We just sat in the run lanes.
Yep.
And just ate them alive.
No,
how much would you guys give to take this defensive line back to the years Wentz played?
It would have made a big difference.
The guy that he is, he probably wouldn't have made the NFL.
The nightmares I have of that guy
Yep.
when we would get him on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, and then he'd run. Like I would.
It did, and we had great linemen those years, but we didn't have 10 of them.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. So let's keep rolling here if you guys are good. After that, Western Illinois, 34-10. I think that was another game similar to UC Davis or Butler where we walked away from that and we're like, damn it, I thought we were going to score 70 points.
Yes.
And we didn't.
And we held them to 19 rushing yards in that game? That was where we went, oh, geez, this defense can really stop the run. Not that that's what Western Illinois is known for, but 19 yards is
they still have scholarships.
Much. Yes.
They averaged 1.9 yards a carry. I do remember that.
Yeah, it was not good.
That's bad.
And my takeaway at that point, looking back on these games, was we were seeing a lot of guys in the earlier part of the year, names that I mentioned here that we haven't seen as much now. They started to fall off. So, I mean, I think our coaches are doing a good job of using the 4-year rule, getting those guys the experience they can, and keeping our starters healthy, because it was going to be a long season with no break, as Dustin was talking about.
Until the very end.
I think that's one of the ways we managed it, and we didn't even talk about it.
For the 95% of you that listen to the podcast and don't watch, they're referring to Dustin Helton of FCS Fans Nation called out that we did nothing but complain about the fact that our bye week was at the end of the season, all season, then it actually worked out for us quite well.
I was so mad about it. You know what I remember the most about that week? That was the episode, like one of the first episodes Chad started being on the A-team. And Matt goes to him. He went to you two. It was both you guys. And he goes, how many yards per carry do you think Western Illinois averaged? Chad, being his pissy self, goes, well, I don't know, like 4. And he's like, Jesus, guys, it's us. Like 1.9. What are you doing? And I about died. I had to pull the car over.
It was funnier for you because you know me.
Just get worked out. Oh, all right, we got to move on from this one. But I just pulled up the stats, and it was 1.9. When you add in the quarterbacks, 0.9. All right.
Oh, good times.
All right. So after the disaster that is Western Illinois, who shouldn't have a football program, USD, which was the highest,
schools that shouldn't have a program,
destroyed them. So we got, all right. So let's look at the schedule here. Back to back, we've got USD, which is at home. I don't know whether you call it an emotional rivalry game or not. It should be. They beat us a couple times there, so that changes things. But but coming in, and we end up with, I remember Steak saying it was the highest graded game that he has ever coached. So when they go through, you think about how you get evaluated at work or whatever. Football coaches go through the individual position coaches, and they grade out every play for every player. So this isn't just people running around. You actually have a quantitative score for how you perform during the game that's based on assignment, mental errors, effort, probably most importantly. And that was the highest graded game he has ever coached.
Yeah, wasn't that on his effort score?
It
that he
was,
gives?
yeah, on his effort
Yep,
score.
that was
Yeah.
the effort,
Effort
the
score.
highest effort score he had ever coached, and
And
that game was a lot of fun. I
Oh, it
really
was.
enjoyed that
we whipped
game.
him so bad, I think it got a coach fired.
Yeah, I think it did.
From what
Didn't
I've
help
heard.
him.
Surely
Yeah.
didn't help him.
Yeah, it didn't help him.
And
No,
and it got a quarterback benched, and it's caused
wasn't
some
the
turmoil.
no, their coach
down
was
there.
fired. Their offensive coordinator was fired ahead of us. Yes,
No, he
yes,
got
was,
stepped
because we were talking
down,
about
and then he got fired.
because he wasn't the offensive coordinator when we played us.
Correct.
Okay,
That
fair
was
enough.
not Joe, Nelson.
He was so mad at his offensive line that he fired his former offensive coordinator.
All right, so
Who
that
he
game
responded
goes
better with.
that game goes extremely well. I think we're starting to feel better about just understanding how solid this team actually is, the different ways that we've won, the different players that have stepped up. You've got one, again, probably arguably your best offensive player is out. You've had some other defensive injuries at that point, but then you go back to back USD at home and then to the stupid shopping mall Fargo Dome.
Yeah, which we went from one emotional game to the next, and that has traditionally been the success the recipe for a hiccup. And what happened in Fargo? Brendan, why don't you tell the people how it went between us?
Well, Chad and I had our normal argument sooner than normal. That happened quickly. And then someone jumps on Chad's side, so I argued with random guy.
And I shut up at that point.
Because I felt bad about that. I'm like, oh no, that's not Chad. I don't normally sit with that. I should probably not be that way to this fella.
Because I don't care.
Me and Chad will get after it. But no, that one, good Lord. The thing that was the most frustrating part about that first half, it did not feel tough. How do I say this without ending up on a bulletin board? I'm going to end up on a bulletin board.
It didn't feel like our guys were there 100%.
No, it didn't feel like NDSU stopped us for a single drive. It felt like our penalties stopped us.
Well, yeah.
The only thing that stopped us was us getting off schedule. And the only thing that got us off schedule was false start penalties in that first half. They went away and we scored touchdowns. And every drive, we didn't have false start penalties or a hold. We scored a touchdown or scored points at least. And that's the thing, I guess, that maybe worries me a little bit, because I know Frisco isn't going to be as loud as the Fargo Dome. Bulletin board material for the NDSU fans.
You mean Fargo South?
Sure, whatever they can touch themselves to at night. Honestly, oh God, I want to win so they can't say that. But
I mean, there's more reasons.
There's going to be noise, and we're not. I mean, obviously, we're jumping ahead. And I'm getting off topic because I'm B team. That's what we do. But this will be the first time we played in front of a hostile crowd since the UNI game in November. So we've got to be mentally locked in for that, because honestly, if we don't kill ourselves in that first half, that's a whole different game. Really, I mean, that's a lot closer. And then there was the big controversial penalty that NDSU fans are still mad about, which is a shame. And I just tell them to cut that nonsense right out,
Because he used one finger,
Yeah. Look, you gotta. He must shoot with a release, because he's using one finger. Because if he's shooting right with his fingers,
he has a crossbow. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
there you getting it.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, girls use those sometimes. So.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what was the most frustrating part to me. But on the same token, it's like we're in the Fargo Dome and now we're down by this much. And the second half happened, and that was a magical, magical thing. And I was stressed to the max that whole damn game.
And then to add stress to that, we had a momentary portion of the game where one of our members of our group went missing for a while, and so there was a question there, and that was I was more concerned about that than anything else.
That got my heart rate really pumping.
Oh my God, dude, I felt like terrible for you, and you come back, oh, it's fine. I'm like,
I don't know how you knew about this.
Oh yeah, he just he likes to walk around
tell
sometimes.
them,
So
we're talking about
just get up and walk around sometimes and whatnot and during the game. But I thought he got up to go to like the bathroom. And then it's like 20 minutes later and he's not back. Now it's like 35 minutes later. He's not back. And I looked at Chad, I'm like, my dad go to the bathroom or like get a pretzel or something? He's like, I don't know. He just walked away. I'm like, oh no. Like, did he leave the stadium and now not realizing he can't get back in? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I called him and it was fine. He answered. So he was good. He was watching from their standing room section. So he got to see one of our touchdowns right in front of him, which was pretty cool.
Very nice. So they got that. Yeah, that game, there's more when you come back from behind at the Fargo Dome. Again, very, very good feeling leaving that game, beat 2 rivals in a row. I was going to quickly point out, Brendan, I'm hoping you recognize this glass here that I'm drinking from tonight.
Oh my God, you still got that.
I got that one. No, this is,
story.
Yeah, this is courtesy of Brendan when we met for the first time up in Fargo, going to the Fargo Dome. This was left in my possession. And then is my favorite drinking glass still.
They're awesome glasses.
They are. It's a great pint glass.
My wife was so mad at me about that. Oh my, she's still mad.
Oh, she's a saint.
Not a Boulevard Brewing? What does it say on there? I couldn't read it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Boulevard, Unfiltered Fridays, official location. I don't know where the hell it came from.
I wouldn't worry about it.
All right.
It was acquired one way or another.
All right, so two emotional games in a row.
Right.
Then we turn around, back on the stupid road, back to stupid North Dakota, to Grand Forks.
Tin shed.
Stupid tin shed. Should be in Canada. We might just move the border. I'm not sure. Grand Forks, the scene of Mark's only FCS loss, where he played the whole game. We go to UND.
She's watching. She's still mad. That game, that game was another one that got our heart rates up. I mean, the thing that sticks out to me was arguing with NDSU, same difference, right? Ooh, that'll piss them off.
Fighting words.
They're the same
you've
thing.
Noticed, Dallas, but Brendan's getting a little saltier as the week goes on.
Look, I'm just saying, if the rivalry is that big of a deal, they probably wouldn't both wear green.
Oh,
you got a point. They had a chance. They had their out. They had to change the name of the team, so they had their chance. But
I mean, if you don't like each other that much, anyway,
it is.
Go because I'm just gonna start talking shit.
That's fine. And actually, I gotta bail in 5 minutes because I gotta get Hudson to hockey here. He's got practice tonight.
Yeah, we're close to an hour anyway, but. That was the game where
the rest of it we end in 1 hour. You keep going forever and just keep talking.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So anyway, UND game again. No breath. You were finishing what looked like the meat grinder of the schedule for the most part, and go up there and it's a weird back and forth. Or not back and forth. I don't know how to describe it. There was the scoring at the end, and there were just so many unexpected things.
High scoring affair.
Yeah, score 49 points, kind of in a weird way.
Okay, we're done with that one, I guess.
Did we lose it?
I was like, no, I was all audio.
I was waiting. Sorry, I was in the process of trying to pull up the box score because that one hadn't loaded yet.
My
so
apologies.
I was hoping one of you, because I couldn't see you on the screen. I was hoping one of you would just start talking.
Adam Bach. That's the targeting. The targeting call, which we later find out. Well, I don't know. Never mind. I shouldn't.
Did we?
Was that the game where Bach went out?
Bach got his leg broke.
I thought it was it. No, that's right. It was at the start of that because we were arguing over what happened. So, all right.
I was watching with John from Dakota Iron this whole time. I was at a soccer game watching with him, and brought to you by Dakota Iron, but just slamming his iPad while we were watching the game.
No, and let's keep in mind now at this point we have our two, we got 2 All-Americans out. Arguably best offensive player and probably not arguably best defensive player are both done.
Yep.
And that's where we're at. And then you've got, Mark puts up another, I would call it standard Mark game, couple 100 yards, 15 to 20, one real long pass. We get Tucker back, which is huge, right? Like that's just the shot in the arm, makes everybody feel good, ends up scoring how did he score his touchdown? I actually don't remember. Was that the weird, the kick or?
No, he got close on the kick. They called it not a touchdown, and then he had a different play over the.
That's right. That's right. And I still maintain that kick return. I would have yelled at him, and I'd be the lamest coach in the world. But again, you have an athlete that's that good. I mean, clearly you got the green light to do whatever in the hell you want when you're like an all-world athlete. But I still I saw that one. Oh God, what are you doing?
He scored on that deep play, the scramble drill where he came back to mark and made the play back in towards the field of play and then run up the sidelines. Isn't that the one he scored the touchdown on?
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's right. That's right. But then you got, I think Isaiah didn't play that one either. I don't believe.
Yeah, Isaiah was hurt. His shoulder was injured at the NDSU game, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And that's why he was on, off the field at the end of that game. So
that was a Stallbert pick
FYI,
the Stallbert pick six was the big turning point in that game, wasn't it?
Yep.
If I remember right, that was awesome.
I was just gonna say we'll have 22 probably for the whole game, so take that, NDSU. But,
No, so that was again a bit of a fluky game. My example was, or what I wanted to point out is that just we won a game in another weird way that makes you feel better about what they're able to do, right? Like just different phases, special teams, whatever, people step up. So you go from
Gales
there.
Had the pick six. That's right. That's the one you're talking about.
Yep.
He basically picked it off in the backfield. Right.
No,
poor Dallas.
Dead air again.
What do you mean, poor me? I wasn't talking.
You're trying to talk, and we're just being ourselves.
I was just trying to keep it moving because I'm gonna walk away here in about 2 minutes.
He's a to walk minute fan. Keep her moving, bud.
Doing my best. All right, Indiana State, Hobo Day. Indiana State, God bless you. You suck at football.
Yeah.
We did what we needed to do. So actually, I said the meat grinder's done, but all of us have seen late season Hobo Day games go pear-shaped, and it did not happen. We took care of business. Everybody's feeling good. I don't know if you got anything to call out there, but otherwise you're on to you and I.
Other than the crowd, that's my only call out. That was where it was like, okay, we sold out the USD game. That's never happened. But then we sold out Hobo Day as well with Indiana State. And that's where it was like, okay, our crowd's starting to come around here.
Yep.
That's all. That was all I noticed from that game.
Yeah.
That's worth wasting your time over.
Yep. Garrett Meyer, great point. Indiana State was the first complete game, both sides of the ball, 100%. That was we made them. I mean, by halftime, they wanted to go home. That was over.
And then we traveled down to Cedar Falls to play at the plus-sized Dakota Dome.
Against a team that always plays well against us, damn it.
Oh, that was the one. And really, I think when we looked at that game, we were all thinking, this is the hurdle to accomplishing everything. Right. And it was also one that scared us the most, because if you lose that game that late in the season, you have a much bigger drop than if it would have happened in the beginning of the season and you're able to work your way back into a top 4 spot.
Exactly, because then it's all about seeds. Can we be at home? Because we're coming off of last year, I don't say nightmare, that's a way too strong of a way to put it, but we've got one of the best teams we've ever had last year, stumble a couple times. We have to go on the road and just run out of gas at Montana State. So, I mean, all of the stakes, everything was on the table at that point still.
And we win it on the best play ever. Some guy jumped over the line. And gosh, doesn't that got to piss off Chad?
It does. Trust me. He was hitting me up after that one.
Are you pounding the table there?
I felt bad for him a little bit, but that was so blatant. Because in
what a weird
time,
way to end that game.
But it was so. It's like it's never called. It's like, well, yeah, nobody's supermaning over the center since Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that. And when you make it that obvious, they have to throw the flag. It is what it is. So that game was just I was glad it was over when it was over. That was one where I think it felt like if you win, we're happy. I wasn't caring about how it happened.
Hold on. I got to get out of here. We got the question, Chad, is that a supersized old fashioned? It looks like a Long Island to me.
Long Island.
Bingo.
Oh my God. You're going to be on the floor in about 3 minutes because I love my Long Island days.
3/4 of an ounce of
booze.
all the alcohols.
Of all of the alcohols, that thing is straight booze. Oh, very nice.
great.
God, I used to
Tastes
love
so
those.
good.
All right, guys. Hey, I got to sign off. This has been super fun.
See you,
Great
man. It was
talking
good
to you.
having you.
See you both soon. Later.
Later. Hey, Chad, you know what this means?
That means there is no supervision.
No
And do you want me-
supervision. We're
No
unsupervised.
supervision.
Freedom.
We are the worst. We are the worst.
Yes.
We don't have Ben. We don't have
Poor
Matt.
Dallas. He's trying
We
to
don't have
talk, and
Dallas.
me and you are being me and you just like, oh, look, shiny object came into my head. Let's talk about it. While he's trying to make a legitimate point.
Yeah, how are we gonna finish out the season with
How are we
this,
still
Brendan?
employed by this company?
I do not know.
Like,
I think I do
Matt-
enough busy work that they don't know that I'm just a screw up.
What's the show where the guy gets fired, but he just keeps showing up to work anyways, and they never pay
Jesus,
him, but
that's
he keeps
Office
showing up?
Space.
Is that Office Space? Yeah.
Well, they
I'm
kept
that
paying
guy.
him because of a glitch, and they
Right.
didn't fire him. They
Right.
fixed the glitch.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm that guy because Matt's fired me a couple times, I think, in the comments at least. So.
Everybody knows that once we go over $1, all bets are off.
Yeah, it's a free for all.
It's a free for all.
Who knows? There might be nudity. No, I'm kidding. There won't be any nudity.
I mean, I could make it happen, but no one wants to see that.
We don't have to. We don't have to.
So what game's next, Brendan? Do we want to talk about another game, or is that all the deeper we need to go? You and I game. Everything after that's recent enough. We don't have to talk about it.
It's just Illinois State after that, isn't it?
Yeah, Illinois State, and they have a stud defensive player that's going to play on Sundays.
Yep, that dude was a monster.
And outside of that, we whooped that ass.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we put a beat down on them. They just couldn't do anything against this defense, and this defense really is. I'm the Milton.
It's officially garage time.
It is garage time. Woo woo! So,
woo woo!
All right.
Anybody else remember Terry Tate, office linebacker?
Yes, Terry Tate, office linebacker, baby.
Reebok used to have the best commercials.
Oh, what happened to the days when commercials were funny? Just put us in charge of them.
Dudes catching balls through walls and stuff.
Oh yeah. Anyway, no, the defense just absolutely throttled Illinois State that game.
Absolutely.
Did we held them to 100 yards, if I remember right, which is the most insane thing I've seen in a collegiate football game defensively in a long, long time. Holding a Division I offense to 100 yards total.
Because as Dallas pointed out, they have scholarships too.
Yeah. And Illinois State, I mean, this wasn't their best year, but I mean, they were in contention for the playoffs at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And you held them to 100 yards. I don't care it was their backup quarterback. That is nutty. But beyond that, I think that's the thing that really sticks out to me. We got a question from Jordan I want to answer. In person, are NDSU fans more like Frazee or those on Bisonville? Because we pretty much wrapped up the season, right?
Yeah, I think we did. That's
most of them are not like on Bisonville,
but most of them aren't like Frazee either.
Right, Frazee is probably one of the nicest humans on the planet.
Right, so he's beyond as nice as most of them are.
Right. And I hate probably saying this a little bit, but we're not so different, you and I. Our fans and their fans, we're not that different. Besides, we don't have 9 titles worth of arrogance behind us. They're not. Yeah, Garrett Meyer says it. They're basically like us. I mean, and you can see it in our fans posts on Twitter right now, going Natty, stuff like that. We're going to be obnoxious on Twitter. I hope maybe our fans will be better at if we are fortunate enough to win.
Act like you've been there.
Remembering what they hate about NDSU fans and not being that way. Because I would really hate for us to turn into that. That would suck. But otherwise, no. I have a lot of fun with those guys. I lived in Fargo for 6 years.
That's a great comment.
That's a great. That's funny. Seth Meyers says Bisonville is just the same 8 to 10 people constantly dragging their asses across the carpet. Pretty much, yeah. It
And
used
I
to be
don't
a
go
lot of.
there.
It used to be a lot of fun there, and I love some of the guys from there.
Oh, we got a
but-
new commenter who's agreeing with your comment about living in Fargo.
Oh, Craig, yeah. What's up, man? Yeah. God, I
Oh,
think,
you know
I
Craig.
remember. Yes. Yeah, living in Fargo. It's funny in Fargo. When we moved up, and I'm me, so I'm wearing SDSU gear around town, and it was our first time out to eat, and we were downtown at one of the main restaurants downtown. I don't remember where it was, and one of the waitresses goes, "Oh, so you're not NDSU fans?" We're like, "No, we hate them. We're SDSU fans, can't you see?" And she's like, "Nice," and high-fived us. And I was like, "Oh, you're the best. This might not be so bad," but you'd be
I had
that
that happen. I had that happen at the beer hall. One of their servers is like, yeah, even us non-football people, we find the fans here kind of obnoxious. Like,
right. And I don't blame him all the way.
that's cool.
If we won 9 national titles in a row, we would be obnoxious. I mean, it just is what it is at that point. However,
pictures there didn't happen,
do
Craig.
it. Craig, do that. Oh my God, I will buy the flag. They have 10 by 15 flags at Shields right now. They're $190. I hope my wife's not watching, but I would consider sending you one of those to hang from the 32nd Street Bridge because, oh my God.
It would make the news.
Oh, would. Oh my God. Someone would have a coronary. There would be popped blood vessels and eyes like they were just lifting heavy weights. That would be hysterical.
Jim Poppin says he'll Venmo money to buy the flag.
Yeah, baby. That's right, baby. This is going to be a lot of fun, guys. I'm really excited for this tailgate. This game, I'm excited for it. I'm nervous for it. I'm nervous enough that I don't even want to think about what it might be like if we do lose this game because, whoa. I mean, that'd just be the cherry on top. I don't know.
Kind of no coming back, huh?
I don't know if I'd be able to deal with it.
The only honestly, good thing is
like
you don't live in Fargo anymore, right?
Yeah, that was oh man.
If you were doing if that happened and you live in Fargo.
Well, I'll tell you what, the worst thing, the very, very worst thing was had I moved here yet?
I don't know.
I had. But being in Fargo after they won a national title when
we lost in Missoula.
Yeah, no. When the very, very worst was being in Frisco, watching Montana State play NDSU
and
getting their balls kicked in so bad. That was horrendous. And I was all drunk and pissy, so I left at halftime. But
and wearing NDSU gear at one point.
That was a Friday night gig, which Matt Frazee played like a champion. That was brutal because he wore SDSU gear, and then he acted like every NDSU fan accuses SDSU fans of being to the 10th degree. And it was so smart. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that as an NDSU fan. Well, guess what? Nobody talks to the guy in the NDSU gear because we were at an NDSU bar. So I was just another dude there. So I couldn't even do it. There was nobody to even do that to. So it was extremely well played by Matt. He was so good at it.
That small guy's going out on a limb if you've never met him. He's tall, but he's not what we'd call a big guy.
He's thin. He's thin.
Really. Wasty? Would we call him wasty?
Yeah, I don't know, like wasty. No, that was brutal. And I feel like I paid a little bit of a tax for every SDSU fan, hopefully to feel what it's like to win after this week.
So you're saying
I feel like I put in the time.
You maybe put yourself on the proverbial cross, so to speak, not to be,
yes.
Yeah.
And off of Ryan Drake's comment, tailgating's been next level. I absolutely 100% agree.
You just wait.
Yeah, this tailgate down there is going to whatever it's going to be sick. I hope we have a ton of people bringing rigs, setting up tailgates. Don't if you can't find a tailgate other than ours, bring your stuff, buddy. Just do it. Um, bring your stuff down, set up grills, fly flags, do everything you can to make this an event to remember, because it will be. Just it's going to be a blast, and I would love to see the whole lot Jackrabbit Blue tailgating rigs, because that will just burn NDSU fans' asses.
Seth Meyer, let me comment on your comment, please, if I can. Seth Meyer says the only thing I'm worried about is our guys not managing their emotions during the week and being burnt out come game day. Okay. Appreciate the comment, sir. I'm going to respectfully disagree with this. Brendan and I were talking before.
Look at you,
before
diplomatic.
This. What?
You're so much more diplomatic than I am.
Yeah, I disagree with the guy.
That's okay. Yeah.
I think it's a bad take. Do you want me to is this going to evolve to me being Sean and you being Joe?
I'm just saying.
You suck. You suck on ice.
You have to give him a background before you tell him you disagree. You can just tell him you disagree.
What did I say to you regarding emotions?
Go on.
No, you tell me. What did I say before this podcast?
I wasn't listening.
Oh, yeah, you're full of
I'm
shit.
Kidding.
Our mental performance
coach, Chris Crack.
Right.
Chris Cracked. Makes me want to say Chris Crack.
I think it's
Chris Cracked.
A crock.
I'm not good at words. Okay.
Crocked. I don't know. Somebody correct us. Anyway, he has got our guys. You go listen to and Jim Popham pointed out our presser. You go listen to that presser. And if you have paid attention to what Chris Crocked has said, you will hear him coming through those guys and how he's affected them and how the mentality has become more than just a mentality. That's a way of doing business. It's not going to happen, Seth. I hate to tell you. I love it.
I'm not going to go as far as to be definitive, but I don't think it happens. Because also, too, remember how many times now this group of guys has had to have a 3-week layoff? Because if this was 3 years ago,
Seth's reeling it back now.
I'd be really nervous about whether or not we hold how we do out of a 3-week layoff. But these guys now have had 2 of their last 3 seasons have a 3-week layoff in between games already, and they've handled it beautifully. We know what we're doing with that. We know how to do it. We know how to have Jacobs knows what he's doing with the strength and conditioning. It's the whole thing. And that is what gives me a lot of hope that we're not going to come out flat or anything like that. And everybody's going to be dialed into the max, focused on what it takes to win this game, not just because it's the national title, but because it is against NDSU. I mean, this is going to be something. You want to talk about the statement that Jimmy Rogers made in that ESPN article, where he said, I've never lifted the rock because I want to leave them, watch them leave the field not being able to. Can you imagine the feeling of this with the national title? And
if we win, somebody ought to get a camera on Jimmy Rogers watching him walk off.
Oh my God. I mean, if that's not a talking point for ABC, I don't know what they're even doing. So Tim Haybeck makes a good point. Come on down without a ticket. The experience, I'm sure the experience alone will be worth the trip. Honestly, I 100% agree. Because if I think of huge atmospheres, exciting atmospheres, I think of like I'm a NHL fan. I'm a Winnipeg Jets fan. When the playoffs were going on, their hockey game would be sold out, and then they had another 3,000 people out front watching on a big screen. It's just having a party. Could you imagine how fun it would be? You show up, you don't have a ticket, but there's still another 1,000, 2,000 Jacks fans there. They don't have a ticket either. So you just take over the bars outside the stadium, party it up while the game's going on, and then party with everybody else after the game's over. How fun of an experience, how unique of an experience that could be. So I say, whether you got a ticket or not, just go. First off, there'll be scalpers outside. You should be able to get a ticket. But if you don't get a ticket, are you really going to want to miss the whole experience just because you didn't have a ticket at the game? So you're going to miss the whole weekend to stay home and watch it on TV or watch it at a bar in Sioux Falls instead of getting 75% of the experience. And yeah, you missed the game. That sucks. But I mean, that experience is worth it, man.
But
It's
you
a
get the
lot of
same
fun
bar
down there.
experience, only better. And that's
Right.
something that we're not talking or we haven't talked about. The one positive about it being moved to Sunday is that gives one more day of the weekend to go out, have that tailgating experience.
Party
We know
it up.
NDSU fans are good to tailgate with. We know they're good. Sure, they're going to give us the same shit that they've gave us for the last 10 damn years. But you know what? By now it's just noise because it's the same thing. They're a broken record. They don't got anything new,
Right.
they
They have no new
dare
material.
say they're maybe a little afraid of the little team from down south.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I love it because the amount of smack that they can say as the years have gone have shrunk and it's shrunk and it's shrunk and it's shrunk and they're running out of material and it's awesome. So, I mean, and Jim says, how many rings do you have? I'm so tired of that. I'm with you, man. I'm with you,
All
brother.
we'll have left if we win, bud. It's all
And
they'll have left.
and that's one of those things too, where they say something like that, and I just go, okay, that's original. What else? You got anything good? Or, I mean, what's the point of even responding, especially online?
There's
But
also the added benefit of you can meet the Rev if you do show up.
yep,
He'll probably
he'll
be at
be
her tailgate. Just look for the
right.
giant bunny rabbit. I don't think I
Yes,
need to say more.
yes. Look for the big rabbit. It's gonna be great. Did you post Angela Griffin's
Not yet. No, go ahead and
okay.
talk about it.
Yeah. Caleb's mom, she says, I disagree too. Caleb was asked if he ever gets nervous, and he was like, no. This is a kid who napped before winning state at wrestling in high school. These guys have a great coaching team that helps keep them leveled.
100%.
That's what we were, trying to get across. Guys like Caleb, the leadership, Mark. I don't think these guys are going to let the moment be too big for them. So
Did you see her next comment?
544 parents and family coming. Hell yeah. I'm all about it. Let's go.
Yeah,
This
let's
is
go.
going to be. Here's the deal. This is outside of the stadium is going to be a hobo day in Texas.
Yeah.
Think of it as hobo day in Texas. You get to go on a vacation and have hobo day in Texas. Tell me that wouldn't be a good time.
In January.
In January, exactly. Yeah. Dustin Helton is the nicest guy you'll meet if he says so himself, and I will let him say that. No, I'm just kidding. He's a great guy. But anyways, we are at $120, so
more or less.
It might be about that time. We don't have anybody to keep us in line, and if we go any further, it's gonna really get out of bounds. We'll talk about setting up underground gambling rings at the tailgate or something. So,
you don't talk about.
Sorry, you don't talk
Club.
about Fight Club. Yeah, I'm
right.
I'm not good. That's why I've never been in Fight Club.
And if you drive, bring your golf clubs. And if you're bringing a truck, talk to somebody that's not coming and see if you can't get yourself a flagpole and some flags if you don't have them.
Yeah,
let's work together on this deal, guys.
Yeah, we're a big team. Garrett Meyer asked, when is the next pod? I believe everybody will be a full go for next week. Obviously, it's the lead up. So I reckon I'm guessing the 18 will be on Sunday. I can't make any promises. Keep an eye on the Facebook and Twitter pages.
I imagine so, but I do not know.
And I know I'm flying down Thursday, so I believe our pod hopefully will be Tuesday if Ben has time. Oh, Deb says hi. Hey, Ryan. What's up, buddy?
Ryan.
Hey,
love you guys.
You're my boy.
I mean, I got my favorite hat in here somewhere. I'm just not wearing it today. It's that one. I got a few hats, if you know me. Man of many hats.
That's right.
Tim Hayback, him and I, hopefully we'll be getting there. We booked on Southwest, and we might be booking the 4-wheel trip down there if things don't go right. So,
yeah,
I saw a post today on Twitter with a room full of luggage.
Yeah, nightmare scenario. So keep your head on a swivel if you are flying Southwest. I know out of Omaha, I got a great flight through American that was down and back. No layovers, just straight shot. That was pretty cheap. I don't know if it's still available. Maybe keep your eyes open for that. If you're able to adjust your plans and you want to leave nothing to chance, keep that in mind.
Ooh, come on, man, that's rough. We went with the bags fly free. I mean,
Whatever. I mean, you know what? My bags aren't worrying about if they're going to make it. Anyways,
ooh,
all right, that's it. I'm calling it. Go big,
go blue,
go
go
Jacks.
Jacks.